Welcome to Central News. I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, over 600 Waikato homes this year will be warmer due to free ceiling and underfloor insulation. Project 270 was initiated by the Waikato District Health Board's Māori Health Unit Te Puna Oranga and is named 270 as it is estimated over 270,000 children in New Zealand live below the poverty line. Te Puna Oranga's manager says living in an insulated house can improve not just the health of children, but their well-being.
I guess if we get insulation into houses which haven't been insulated before, those houses will become warmer, they'll become drier, and when they're heated up by whatever heating devices in the home, they'll remain warm for a longer period of time. And that's going to have a direct impact on the health and well-being of the kids and the other members of the family that live in that home. And there's sort of, I guess, a lot of research which has been done both at a national and international level that shows that if your house is cold and damp, then avoidable emissions into hospital services or even primary care spike during that period. When you warm up the home and dry it out and make sure that it's also got good ventilation, I guess those things which are avoidable no longer occur. So there's a direct impact simply by having a warm, dry, safe home.
Waikato Enactors Group, formerly known as SIFE, Student and Free Enterprise, was nominated for 2 out of 8 awards and took out the Projects Award at the Hamilton City Council Recognised Youth Awards last year. The group's community projects were what saw them recognised, and they represented New Zealand at the SIFE World Cup in Washington DC. Waikato Enactors team members say they have more great community projects planned for this year.
Families are losing their loved ones because people aren't wearing life jackets. It's not enough just to carry them on board. It's only going to save your life or increase your chances if you've actually got it on.
A high moving over the country is expected to bring fine and settled weather for the long weekend. Met Service Media and Communications meteorologist Daniel Corbett says one high is being replaced by another, a welcome change from the active troughs during the last few weeks. After a cloudy Thursday, the Met Service is predicting sunny weather with highs of 25 degrees Celsius for Saturday, Sunday and into Auckland anniversary on Monday. Kiwifruit post-harvest supplier Espak is forecasting a $6.2 million profit before tax for the year ending December 31st, 2012. New Zealand's largest wholly grower-owned kiwifruit post-harvest cooperative will maintain investor share dividends at 15 cents per share and continues to reduce overall company debt. The company expects to halve its debt to just $5 million for the year end, and the share dividend will be paid later this month and in March. Now for our region's weather for the long weekend. Hamilton, you're up first. Saturday mainly fine with the chance of an afternoon shower and light winds. Your expected high is 27 and an overnight low of a very chilly 12. Your Sunday is the same, fine with a chance of an afternoon shower. Your expected high is 27 and a little bit warmer, overnight low of 13. Tauranga, your Saturday is fine and sunny with a southeasterly breeze. Your expected high is 24 and an overnight low of 15. And your Sunday is the same, it's fine with a southeasterly breeze. Your expected high is 25 and an overnight low of 16. Just ahead, shall we vaccinate our children? Welcome to Central News on TV Central. There has been a recent outbreak of whooping cough in our regions, and the Waikato District Health Board is offering free whooping cough vaccines to pregnant mothers. The vaccine debate has been going on for a number of years, with some saying there is a direct correlation between vaccine and the rising rate of autism. We look closer at this debate and find out what diseases we can be vaccinated against in New Zealand.
Well, there's a wide range of illnesses for which there are vaccines which are part of the New Zealand immunisation schedule. But they include whooping cough, diphtheria, tetanus, measles, mumps, rubella. There's a wide range.
So what ages are best for these vaccines?
Well, the schedule as it's been developed now over the years in New Zealand starts at the age of 6 weeks. So babies at 6 weeks get their first vaccines, and then further at 3 months, 5 months, and the next dose is at 15 months.
And these are all part of the New Zealand Health Scheme.
Yes, they are. Yeah, so this is what we call the New Zealand immunisation schedule, and it also includes doses for adults too of the particular vaccines.
Some regions have actually set up a whooping cough vaccine for pregnant mothers. Will the Bay Plenty look at doing this?
We were just in the process of implementing that when, fortunately, just before Christmas, Pharmac, the national agency, as part of the Ministry of Health, decided to introduce that for the whole country. So from the 1st of January this year, women during pregnancy between the ages of, between 28 and 38 weeks of pregnancy are encouraged to receive a dose of pertussis vaccine.
So if we have a whooping cough vaccine when we're a baby, then why does a pregnant mother need it?
Right. Yeah. Immunity is not always lifelong, however you become immune to something. For some diseases, our immune system works brilliantly at developing pretty much lifelong immunity. And measles looks like that's a good example of that, that once you're immune to measles, that immunity is probably close to being lifelong, whether it's by having measles or by being vaccinated. With pertussis, the immune system is not so good at developing lifelong immunity. And so the outbreak we've had in the country now for the last 12 to 18 months, pretty close to half the cases have been adults. And it's not that they were never vaccinated, it's just that their immunity has waned.
Why are some choosing not to vaccinate their children?
I guess the best answer to that would be probably need to discuss with some of them why they don't. But from work that we've done, people have a lot of objections. What I can say is that the vaccines on the New Zealand schedule of vaccines, we only use them because we know they work, because we know they're necessary, and because we know that their safety profile means that it's useful for the population.
Is there actually any scientific evidence that vaccines can be dangerous?
Anything can be dangerous. Yes, occasionally, very, very rarely, harm is caused by a vaccine. I mean, most people who get a vaccine injected will have a sore arm for a day or two, you know, if you've had influenza vaccine. Significant reactions are very unusual. And again, we only use these vaccines because we know that their benefits far, far outweigh any potential harm.
Can it actually lead to risks for the community if somebody isn't vaccinated?
Yes, there's a concept of what we call either herd immunity or population protection, which for most of these illnesses means that so long as we get 90 to 95% of the population covered with vaccine, then the other 5 to 10% get some advantage from that because it lowers the level of illness in the community sufficiently that it basically goes away.
How do some of these vaccines work?
There's a range of answers to that because different vaccines work in different ways, but basically they mimic the actual bug that would cause the illness, and so that the immune system sees the vaccine as if it were the real virus or bacteria, and as a result of seeing it in that way, it stimulates the immune system to develop antibodies or immunity depending on what the appropriate immune response is.
Now, some people say that they don't want to be injected with live bugs. Are they actually dead bugs or are they alive?
There are a whole range. Some are live, so the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine is 3 live, what we call attenuated viruses. So they're viruses that are still sufficiently like the original that the immune system responds to them and develops immunity, but they're not going to cause illness. Some vaccines are killed vaccines. Some, like the influenza vaccine, is neither of those. It's actually just a part of the virus particle, but it's enough of it to make the immune system respond to it.
Has the health sector actually seen an increase in some of these diseases that can be vaccinated against?
Well, we continue to have outbreaks, and the whooping cough outbreak at the moment you've mentioned is an example. But with some of these illnesses, and whooping cough is an example, even if we got 95% of the population covered with vaccine, we'd probably still get the occasional outbreak.
Say if a child is vaccinated against a disease and they're exposed to another child who is actually infected with that disease, is that child at risk of contracting that disease?
Well, you can never say there's no risk. there's a potential that the child will still be susceptible to getting the infection, but if they're fully vaccinated, it's much, much less likely to occur. And sometimes even when they do get the illness, it will be of a lower severity.
Coming up next, Surf Lifesaving's busy summer. Welcome back. It has been a far better weather than last year for our summer so far, and this is clearly evident if you head to the beaches in our region. They are packed with people. The downside is that Surf Lifesaving have had a very busy summer. I spoke with Scott from Surf Lifesaving New Zealand to see if the weather and sea conditions have been different this year and added to the hectic summer season.
Compared to last year, definitely. Obviously, we had Rena, so that was a huge challenge. We've seen a lot more patrons on the beach just because of the fact that Rena's not here. But yeah, it has been some interesting weather. We've had a lot of strong wind. We actually had a cyclone that generated a lot of surf, and a lot of rescues happened because of that. So it's been up and down, you know, and definitely the weather affects how many patrons we get on the beach. Nice sunny day, definitely going to get lots of people. And we actually found that if it's big surf, we get more patrons. So yeah, it's interesting what people click onto.
What are some good beach safety tips that we can use over the summer to make our lives easier?
Well, I guess the first one is swim between the flags. I know it might not necessarily be the coolest thing to do, but yeah, if you stay within the flags, we can look after you, and it's definitely the safest place on the beach. It's what we're here for, to indicate where to go. I guess the other thing as well is just be aware of where you're swimming. You can go onto findabeach.co.nz and it can tell you a bit more information about the beaches and some of the dangers that are inherent in them. But yeah, and just make sure you swim with a group and there's people watching you.
Now, I mean, because the rest of the Mount Beach isn't actually flagged, so where should people be swimming around there?
Where it's not flagged?
Yeah,
well, we wouldn't recommend swimming anywhere but the flags, but yeah, it's quite dangerous down this stretch of the beach, the northern end of the beach. There's a lot of rips, that's why the flags are always quite close to leisure. So yeah, we wouldn't advise it, but yeah, we can't really stop anyone from swimming there.
Rock fishing is popular in the Bay of Plenty, but yet it has one of the most highest fatality drowning rates. What can we do to make ourselves safer?
It's a challenging one, I guess, because we don't patrol those areas. But I guess it's just being smart about what you do. You know, it's just a lot of common sense. You know, don't go into a dangerous position. If you think it's a bit sketchy, then it's obviously probably not the best thing to do. Make sure you're with a group. Make sure everyone knows where you are and the time that you're expected to get back, so people know who to call and if you're late. So yeah.
Do Bay of Plenty beaches actually have any special problem areas?
I guess it's hard to say. You know, you've always got risks and you've always got rips, and I guess the important thing to note is that a beach can change quite radically day to day. You know, it could be a rip in one location that could quickly move, and the flags have to be moved to a safer location. And it's always, you know, we recently had a situation where we had surf go from around about 0.5 metre to a 5 metre swell, which is pretty massive. So yeah, it's surprisingly how quick beach conditions can change, and you've just got to be really onto it, because yeah, no beach is really safe, but we do our best to put you in the right direction.
And is the end of Leisure Island with the blowhole quite a problem?
I guess so. Every so often we'll get an incident out there. We actually recently had an incident where, not quite off blowhole but a different location, there was a teenager who decided that it would be a good idea to jump off that, and they jumped off that, and they didn't actually hit anything, but they landed awkwardly and did their spine. So yeah, so you've just got to be really careful and know what you're doing, and you know, just have a bit of common sense about what you're doing, and if it's probably not a smart idea, then probably don't do it.
The Eastern region has half the hours of patrol, but yet nearly the same amount of rescues as the Northern region. Why is this?
I think mainly because there's more clubs in Northern region. They cover a lot more of the beach than we necessarily do. We only have 7 clubs covering the Bay of Plenty region, 7 clubs in the Coromandel, but there's still a lot of beach that's not covered. You think about south of Papamoa, there's no clubs there until you get to the likes of Makatu, which is a considerable amount of beach that's just not covered. Even from here to Tay, in that Tay Street area between Mount and Amanu, that's still a gap. You know, there's no club there, and a lot of people swim there. So yeah, we just can't cover the beach, and sometimes people just don't swim between the flags.
We have very few fatalities. here in the eastern region, are our beaches just generally safer?
It's always really hard to compare, rescues and fatalities into beach safety because, I guess our ultimate goal is to avoid any rescues because we would like to be preventative, we like to think we're proactive, and it's always hard to discern, is it rescues of a sign of us not doing our job properly, or is it just a sign of people not being safe? But one of the key differences between the likes of the northern region and the eastern region is just the tourists and the population. We have, for instance, northern region generally tackles with ethnic backgrounds that, they come from an area where swimming between the flags can be considered to be an exclusive zone. So they think, flag zone's an exclusive zone, I'm not allowed to swim there. Cultural barriers like that can often be the place, and things like swimming in jeans is way more common up there. So basic things that, people don't click onto. And also, obviously, the key factor that there's a lot of people don't know how to swim.
Swim between the flags, simple message, but life-saving. Stay tuned. Up next, maybe it's time to make that New Year resolution. Otherwise, you may be paying $100 a packet. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. This year could possibly be better than any other year to carry out that New Year's resolution of quitting smoking for good, with the 10% increase of cigarettes. I found out why the new year is a good time to give up.
Well, traditionally people like to start to give themselves a fresh start, don't they, in the new year? Dieting, exercise, getting the budget right. For many smokers, they wait till the new year. They start fresh, and if their friends and family are giving up, they do it as a group, get that support.
Just to remind us, what are the harmful effects of smoking?
Most people know the smoking gets into the lung, smoke goes in, hits the lung, the heart. They know this. The smokers don't need to be told this. What they may not know is that there's strong evidence for pancreatic cancer, bladder cancer, cervix cancer. Smoking's very dangerous. It's the leading cause of tooth loss in the world, blindness. 1,300 New Zealanders a year go blind from smoking. For the young ones, they lose their fitness, their teeth go yellow, their skin ages. You can see them lose the shine on their skin.
What are the government's plans around the price increases for cigarettes?
We started putting the prices up in 2010. This was a deliberate strategy, and it had immediate effects on the quit rates. By 2012, 21% improvement in the quit rate and the move towards quitting. In the last 3 years alone, 70,000 New Zealanders have stopped smoking on a daily basis. So in January of this year, we saw the first of a 10% price hike. This is going to carry on for the next 4 years.
And these are definitely working?
They're definitely working, but the smokers are pretty staunch in wanting to carry on. They're pretty addicted. This is a genetically modified cigarette. It's got chemicals that have been added to make it more addictive. They don't want to quit. They're not choosing to quit. They're not even choosing to smoke, actually. So they're smoking their cigarettes differently now. They're finding ways to move their money around so they can keep going. But when these people go into the dairies to get their smokes, they're saying to the dairy owners, I don't want to smoke, but they're back the next day. They're rolling their cigarettes differently. They're moving their lives around to cope with this price increase.
What are some tips to help quit smoking?
Well, you could do extravagant things like get rid of the paraphernalia, put your cigarettes in the boot of the car, so if you want to have a cigarette, you've got to go outside to get your cigarettes, and, really make it hard for yourself. Give it to someone in the family. But if you want to quit smoking, you really do need to go and get help nowadays. You need to contact Quitline. Tell your friends that you're smoking, and that you're quitting rather, and that you want to have their support. Contact your GP. The practice nurses are all geared up, ready to go. The Maori providers in the community, if you don't know how to contact them, just let Quitline know and they'll give you a list of providers. Contact your local smoke-free coordinator at the hospital. She'll put you on to the person that can help you quit. There's all sorts of people out there that'll help.
Is there one particular method that works better than others?
No method works. No method works. There's no magic bullets. So there's drug treatments out there. There's 4 different drugs that can help. There's no herbal remedy, no like Nicobrevins out there, hypnotherapy, acupuncture. Most smokers will give something a try once and think it doesn't work, like NRT, the patches gum lozenges. We tried this for years and it didn't work. Then we increased the dosages. Yes, because we were under-prescribing. So based on the smoker's history, who they are, what they're like, the cessation provider will talk to them, look at their lifestyle, find the right dose for them, work with them. You can't really do this alone now. When people do it alone, they tend to fall over in the first week, and only a few of them are quit at a year. That's why you need the help.
How many people give up and start again?
Interesting question. We think it's about 9 out of 10 relapse. That's high, isn't it? So we've currently got about over 600,000 smokers, right? We've got over 250,000 people this year will try and quit. There's not much of a chance that all of those people will quit, as you know. So of that, probably about, if we're lucky, 50,000 people will be quit by the end of the year. That's what we're hoping for.
How do we quit and not just give up then?
That's the best question you've asked yet. You have to undo the behavioural changes in your body. More importantly, you have to undo the anatomical changes. We've done scans on smokers. We know for a fact that there's no smoker that's taken up smoking whose brain hasn't been anatomically changed. Smoking changes your brain. It changes it anatomically and physiologically.
What is nicotine doing to our brain?
Modifying it. What your brain should have been using, your receptors should have been sending out chemicals to move you and do messages for other things in your body is now being used for nicotine. We've got to change that back. That's what you have to do to quit. You have to undo the nicotine addiction. It's like heroin addiction. And if you've got other addictions to alcohol, food, heroin, do them together.
Very scary and compelling facts there. Call Quitline on 0800 778 778, or as Sue said, making contact with your GP is a good start. That is the news for today and this week. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have news including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back next week with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a great long weekend.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.